Ciao, dosto. So, for the third time in one season, we have Roma and Athletic Club squaring off against each other. And joining me today to preview the second leg of the Europa League last 16 tie is Mr. La Liga Systems himself, a celebrity on Twitter, and he is all things La Liga. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello, great to be here. Great to be on Calcio. And yeah, I mean, first leg was amazing, right? We didn't get to preview it, but yeah, it was such a good watch. I think we expected it to be a good watch, but it was too tight if you're invested in either of the teams, I would say. So yeah, I think
100%.
it'll be another extremely tight affair. That's what it feels like. So yeah, can't wait for
Just
that.
just picture this, buddy. Grown man, probably entering middle age at 3:45 in the morning, jumping Eldor, Eldor,
Yeah,
Eldor.
what a Yeah, I mean that was such a good moment, man. Like, cause it really did look like it was gonna go 1-1 and stuff, and
Mm,
like that sequence of play was started from way back. It was so well done by Roma, and all game they were sort of coached. I mean, they coached themselves well to attack quick, and they kept doing that until the end. I think substitutes made a very good impact for
yeah,
Roma too. Um, Even
yeah,
Sole, not just Romelu, right? Everybody had a
yeah,
good impact. So
yeah. Sule,
great match
Salamakas, and
right up to the
Romelu.
end. Yeah. Yeah, even Salvakas had a great game. Yeah, right up to the end it was very well contested. I think both teams were going for the result. And yeah,
Yeah.
like it must have been a great moment. Yeah.
So it is funny that you mentioned, that the coaching and the substitutions help, because the first time when Roma and Athletic Club met in the group stages, it was Ivan Juric who was the coach of
Hmm.
Roma. Very different Roma, and to be fair, a very different Athletic Club as well back then. And now you've seen it over the last 4 5 months. What has changed from then to the Valverde? I would say, his effect. How have Athletic changed, and what has been their pros and cons in the last 4 5 months?
Yeah, I would say well they've been consistently hovering between fourth, fifth, even third in the league,
Mm,
right? So they've done, I mean, Valverde over the last few years has cultivated a system that keeps sort of reproducing itself. It's a very confident, aggressive way of playing football.
yeah.
But I think this season in particular, like they've grabbed upon momentum well. Some of the key players who may be absent for Roma, like Vivian, I think he's been the best centre back in La Liga. A lot of people also share that opinion for this season.
Mm,
So Sunset as well has had a few injuries here and there across the season too, but literally if he's on the pitch, he's differential. He's a difference maker. So I think, yeah, key players with a system that has been consistently and properly, you can watch Athletic Club and say, okay, that's them. It looks like them, right? That's how they play. So a lot of high pressure. I mean, the good thing I think for them coming up to the style is that even though they're missing the key players, I don't think it'll impact their style because that's just how they've been playing for quite a while now. So that consistency has helped them a lot in getting results in La Liga across the season. Also, I think they're good for knockout football. Like they can alternate when required from being tight and compact to being super aggressive and in your face. So I think that's good. They ride momentum well. With regards to Roma, I think like they look much more cohesive. I think it just looks like a team that understands itself better compared to like before. I think that was also a good game. I don't think that was a bad game at all. But
yeah.
like they just look a bit more considering it's knockout, they do look quite confident. Like especially at home, which we always know is a lovely atmosphere. So
Yep. Speaking of which, the this you saw all the flags that were, at the stadium displayed, the waves, the ocean of flags. So that was an initiative, done by the leaders of the Kurva Sud, and they'd given the proportions, the colors, and everything was homemade. So obviously they had a lot of people, make it and distribute it, and some people did it by themselves. But essentially every Roma Tifoso had that flag, and I think it made for an excellent atmosphere. And I think that has been transmitted by Claudio Ranieri. the minute that Ranieri came in, his job was to stabilize and fix things at Roma after De Rossi's departure, Juric's departure, and the mess that was there between the ownership and the fans. So he understood that really well, and it's been positive, but eventually results and results matter, trophies count, and this is knockout football. I have the utmost respect for Ernesto Valverde. I think he's a fantastic coach. Doesn't get his due flowers in my opinion as compared to
Yeah.
say other Spanish coaches, but
For
we
sure.
all know that the final is at the Bilbao Stadium, San Mames, and there is incentive. Athletic Club at home are extremely difficult. It is the same thing. I mean, Roma at home, very daunting tie, and Athletic Club at home, equally daunting. So, how do you see Athletic Club coming out of the blocks? Do we see an early goal coming in from Athletic Club, or do you think that they'll just first read the pace of the game and then kind of express themselves?
Yeah, I think the second one is quite unlikely. Like they're, I would say by instinct, they've been coached to, again, good work from Valverde. They've been coached to, especially at home, just sort of attack the game from the word go, right? And I think that question would have been a question if it was 1-1 and the tie or something. But
Yeah,
considering they're trailing, I think that they just have to come out of the gates that way. So especially at San Mames as well, this is just how they build intensity in the stadium. This is how they sort of approach the match from the beginning. So yeah, I think that will probably be the message. Having said that, I think they had quite a bad weekend game. It ended
mm,
1-1 against Benfica, but they looked a little disconnected, etc. It could be like fatigue and all of that.
yeah,
And maybe they're sort of mentally saving themselves for this tie or something. But this does mean a lot to them. Like I would say, like I sort of go on Spanish Twitter also sometimes. Like athletic club fans have been serious about this competition from day one.
yeah,
Like they're very happy about being back in Europe, and especially like you said, the final is in San Mames. So it means that much more. And I think Nico Williams staying, all of that has sort of given them like a collective sort of inspiration that maybe they can, and they've a good league form has backed them up. So they'll be confident, but I think they've realized last time that like Roma's, it's not like an easy challenge at all because there are so many good talented players there and they've been coached to resist what Athletic Club can do. I think we saw that in the first leg. So
yeah,
yeah, difficult match to call to be honest. But I think Athletic Club will come firing out of the gates. That's just how I would expect
yeah,
them to come out for it.
yeah. Let's have a look at both the clubs, their form, their run in, and of course the predicted 11 for both Athletic Club and Roma. This is basically a goal.com preview. So obviously, you have Vivian, who is a doubt, if I'm
Yeah,
not
he's out
mistaken.
for a
Sunset,
while. He
he's out for a while.
Vivian is probably out for a while, and
Yeah,
Sunset. I think there
he's
were
also,
sort of hopes that he might be fit, but
yeah,
Valverde confirmed that he won't be.
yeah. And
So
Alvarez is obviously, he got a card in the last, in
he
the in
got
the
it. Yeah.
first leg, so he's out as
Yeah.
well. And in terms of Roma, Zeki Celik is out with muscle injury.
Okay.
He is the
Okay.
notable absentee
Right. Right.
for Roma. And like you mentioned, Athletic Club's form, of course, Mallorca, the draw, and you had a very. I saw this game, man. Athletic Club.
Mhm.
I still do not believe this scoreline. I mean, Athletic Club was so good. They should have scored at least a couple of goals, man. I mean, it didn't make any sense. The
Yeah.
crossbar, the post. It was just overwhelming in my opinion. And in terms of Roma, you saw that after Ranieri has come in, see, not the biggest teams in the
Mhm.
land, like the likes of Monza, Como, with all due respect, even Empoli are in the relegation zone. But
Right.
these games are the ones where Roma are trying to recover lost points. We are still
Right.
seventh in the
Also, I think
table.
earlier in the season there would have been less confidence in those being
Right,
outright wins.
right,
Right? So I think
right,
yeah,
right.
he's stabilized, and I think coming into current form, like Athletic Club has a slightly worse run in for sure. I feel
Yeah,
I don't know if it will be that
yeah,
consequential because knockout ties are quite, they'll be decided in the moment. But yeah,
right. Right. So this is the predicted 11 for both teams. If you can just run us through the Athletic Club predicted 11, and I'll do the Roma starting lineup. starting with you.
Yeah, sure. So I think Agresabala has been starting more consistently in goal for Athletic Club and especially in Europe. So that's more or less a given. We talked about the absentees. Like Vivian is a huge miss.
Mm,
I think he's been one of, if not La Liga's best centre back this season. So he's going to be a big miss, and so is Yarai, who would sort of deputize otherwise. But yeah, beyond that, this looks pretty solid. I think there is a case for Guru Seta starting, considering Sanali did not have the best game, let's say, when he started last time. I think it was a bet he took on the kind of profile he is. But yeah, Guru Seta provides a more fixed reference sort of number nine who's still good on his feet, which might be useful for today. The Williams brothers will be the biggest threat, especially without
of
Sunset.
course.
I think that's also relevant here. I think Inaki was slightly more threatening last game than Nico.
Yeah,
Like Nico didn't quite have his usual game. That continued through to Mallorca this weekend as well. But I think, yeah, like in San Mames and with the occasion, they'll definitely be relying on themselves to make the difference. In
Oof.
midfield, also, I think very good technically, super sound players. If this is the pivot that starts, yeah, like if they control the possession, like it I think Roma will have to like be quite solid. I think in a way that they were in the first leg, but more
Yeah.
intensity could be expected because it's at home.
Yeah, yeah, you're spot on, man. I mean, I feel that Athletic Club will have the ball for long periods of time, which is why, in terms of Roma's lineup, I probably could see Shomorodov also, starting instead of Dobik, because
Mhm.
Shomorodov is the guy who will press continuously. He's got that pace in him, and he can run all night. And in terms of the attacking midfielders, Paulo Dybala is a 100% starter. There is,
Yeah, and we
absolutely.
saw why last leg also. I mean, it was such a joy to watch him again. So good, man. So good.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Ranieri has got that joy back in him, and he's been
Yeah.
absolutely, I would say, pulling the strings for Roma. You saw that Porto game, how he single-handedly kind of,
Yeah, yeah,
responded to Porto's early
exactly.
goal.
Brought the whole
You
thing
know,
back. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's the same reason why Baldi will also start instead of Pellegrini, because Baldanzi, once again, very smooth operator. He's very technically gifted, low
Right.
center of gravity, that kind of a player. Paredes and Cristante will be in that double pivot, because I think
Mm.
Manu Kone did play the entire 90. On the weekend against Empoli, Salamakers, Angelino, a very resurgent Angelino, which you will be happy. For sure,
Mm.
he's been having a nice purple patch,
Yeah.
and of
So, I
course,
mean, he
like
was
I
so
mentioned,
good last leg. He was such a threat
absolutely,
last leg.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
He's been having, I would say, his best spell in a Roma shirt. The last couple of months he's been
Right.
very clutch for us, scoring late
Mhm.
goals as well,
Mhm.
getting
Also
involved in
taking on a
attacks, and
lot of responsibility with the ball, like very, very
you're
nice
right.
to watch.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So the
Yeah.
the main change comes here in the back three. There is talk of Hummel starting and Mancini shifting
Mm.
here, but I feel that it'll be Wrench and Salamakers, because that's where Nico Williams plays, and I think we are under no illusion that this Athletic Club, in this lineup, Nico Williams is the star, and if he's quiet, I think we can control a lot of Athletics attacks coming in from this particular corner. So I think Wrench and Salamakers, they have their work cut out for them tonight, because, like you mentioned, both the Williams brothers will be, fired in this game. And quickly, any difference makers from the bench apart from the ones that you have mentioned? I'll just go to substitutes.
Uh, I just think the midfield rotations might be crucial. Like they have different kinds of midfielders. So the ones that they've projected
Yeah,
right now would be a more adventurous or controlling oriented midfield. Um, I wonder if one of those might come off the bench to add that and have initial stability in the beginning. But yeah, I think striker and that change will also be crucial because they have two very different kinds of strikers. So it's just when the other one comes on, it's going to be a suddenly different challenge, and in that moment, it
yeah,
might be relevant. Like I think it happened with Roma last, like for example,
yeah.
Salamakers, Tomorrow, very
Matthias
different,
Sule.
suddenly different kinds of even solely different kinds of problems for Athletic Club, and they kept adding pressure before that goal. That goal wasn't a one-off either. So yeah,
Yeah,
like I think that same thing might be crucial here. So,
fair, fair, fair. Before we end this stream, obviously, it is prediction time. We spoke offline about penalties. Probably, I was probably thinking the game might go on to penalties, but I really don't want it because I love watching penalty shootouts when it comes to other teams. When it comes to your own
Oh
team,
yeah,
it's a nightmare.
yeah,
And
dude.
I am yet to get over Sevilla versus Roma. I don't think so. I can ever get it over. It's a game I'm going to take it
Oh,
to my
yeah.
grave. Unless Roma
Yeah,
win Champions League, which
I
is
can imagine.
as improbable as Sydney Sweeney coming and doing a movie with
Yeah,
Amir Khan. I don't know. So your
yeah,
predictions for this game?
yeah, yeah. This game, I I don't know. Like if the game was tied from the first leg, I would have given Athletic Club something of an advantage. But I agree. I think it might go to extra time and penalty. Just because I don't know about Roma, but Athletic Club seemed I think a bit tired, a bit leggy on the weekend. So I don't know if both teams will have the energy to really give it their all. It might be a tight scoreline game. I think 1-0 extra time penalties and Athletic Club go through, let's say, just because they're at home. Yeah.
Wow. This is quite the possibility. Especially the penalties.
Yeah,
I
I would say
uh
it's like an easy answer. Like it just seems like the most
yeah,
likely possible in a way.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, my
Mhm.
prediction will come, with a bias towards Roma. So I'm just
No, no.
hoping that we earn a hard fought draw. I mean, I really don't care about the scoreline.
Yeah,
Just get a draw and probably go bit old school, man. I mean, invoke that Italian old school way of defending, the likes that we've seen with in the current generation, Bonucci, Chiellini, Barzagli. Get some inspiration from those Italian teams.
yeah.
Uh,
I think Roma used to do that well under Jose not so long back also.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
like,
Jose was a
that,
master at doing that, and that got him that success that got us to two good
absolutely.
cup runs.
Mhm.
Those core memories are still there with a lot of players, the likes of Dybala,
Mhm.
Pellegrini, Mancini. They were with Jose. They've seen those cup runs where we made it to finals, semi-finals.
Yeah,
So
true.
just bring back those memories, and like you mentioned, I feel that Athletic Club might score the first goal, which means Roma will need to respond. I hope we do,
Yeah,
and then shut up shop and take the draw and take the flight back. And I can assure you, man, there would be 1400 fans waiting at the airport at a very odd hour in Rome.
absolutely.
That is rest assured,
I don't doubt
because
it for sure. Yeah,
the fans are so behind the team right now. I just hope
yeah.
that the boys do it for the fans and
Mm.
everyone back in Rome and all Roma fans across the world.
I don't know. Yeah. I think it's a great tie for that. Like that fan connection is super
Yeah,
special for both sides
for
involved
both
here.
teams.
And yeah, like but
I
similar
really wish, man, this
atmospheres are
this
gonna be
was.
there.
I really wish this was at a later stage or maybe even the final, because I have
Absolutely.
immense.
Like especially first leg was such high quality football
Yeah,
that it almost feels unfair in a way to have it
yeah.
like so quickly. So, but
I
yeah,
I
I
I, w-
mean,
I would have I would have taken Lazio any day of the week, man. I would have taken Lazio any day of the week,
yeah,
because that was the other
yeah,
potential last 16 tie.
right,
Roma
right,
Lazio, Lazio Roma.
right.
Now they have a easier bracket to run into the final.
Navigate, right, right.
Speaking of which, since you're here, what do you make of the other Spanish team in this particular competition, Real Sociedad? I did watch the highlights, and they were
Right.
hardly, they were not convincing, man. I mean, how did
No,
they get away with the
you
draw?
didn't miss much. Yeah, you didn't miss much. It was a really bad match. I don't think it's a great season for Real Sociedad. They're the other Basque club in Europe.
Yeah,
They're not having a very different sort of season from Athletic Club. Maybe some signs of like Imanol has been there for a while, so some
yeah,
signs of wearing off, fatigue of some sort. United were also just as bad. It wasn't a great watch, so I genuinely don't know how to call that. It's just going to be about maybe somebody who doesn't make an error
yeah,
wins type of game. That Betis should go through. I think they had a good match, but every time they got the lead, they just sort of switched off and conceded. They're also tied. They're locked 2-2. But
yeah,
I will say that Athletic Club before like the season started, Athletic Club was my pick for if there is a Spanish club that will do
yeah,
well in Europa Conference. For me, it was Athletic Club. They just looked the best
yeah,
primed.
yeah,
Unfortunately, they they pulled like the worst draw in many ways. So
yeah,
they have a more difficult challenge. But I will say like all my hopes are still on Athletic Club. Not necessarily to win today, but among the three, like yeah, the best horse in the race is Athletic Club. No clue how Sociedad will do. Like we'll have to see to find out. Yeah.
Fair enough, man. Thank you so much for your time,
Mm.
buddy. And you are known as La Liga Systems on Twitter. And if anyone hasn't followed him over there, please do so. Do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And for more content, stay tuned. And I'm not going to do a watch along tonight, but the reaction will come out tomorrow, whether it's positive or negative. But end of the day, I just hope that we have a good game of football, and we get to witness a spectacle between two really amazing sides, representing rich values of Basque in Spain and of course Rome in Italy. So that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Till next time, ciao ciao.